My name is Alexander Diltz. I'm a sophomore at Highland Park, and I've been coming to HPUMC since about 7th grade. Over the years, I've heard a lot of messages, but one thing I've realized is that it's really easy to hear something and then go right back to life without actually slowing down enough to apply it. This is where the series Selah is about. Selah means to pause or to stop for a moment. We've been talking about stopping, exhaling, and listening, but the last part, ask, is what I think a lot of us miss. We don't always take the time to actually bring what's going on in our lives to God. At Highland Park, almost no one really pauses. Everyone is constantly moving with sports, school, practices, and expectations. And even if you're not in sports, there's still pressure to succeed and keep up. But a lot of our stress doesn't actually come from things we control. It comes from the things that we can't control. Family situations, pressure at home, or things going on in life that no one even knows about. And when you're carrying that, it's really hard to find rest. Not just physical rest, but mental and emotional rest. This leads to an important question. What do you do when the thing stressing you out is something you can't fix? We're used to solving problems. If sports are hard, we train harder, and if school is hard, we study more. But what about the things effort can't fix? What about when you don't make the team you worked for? What about when you don't get asked out or you feel left out? What if your parents are going through something? What about when your mental health is struggling and you don't even know how to explain it? What about when someone you know is dealing with depression or even thoughts of suicide and you feel helpless? Or what about when you're the one struggling and you don't even know how to ask for help? Do you just keep carrying it? Or is there something else you're supposed to do? That's exactly where Jacob is, stuck in something he can't fix. And for some context, before this moment, Jacob didn't have a normal conflict with his brother. Years earlier, he deceived Esau. He took advantage of him and stole his birthright, his inheritance and responsibility of carrying God's promise and gift forward. And then he tricked his own father into giving him the blessing that was meant for Esau. Think about that for a second. Imagine your own brother or sister, or even someone you trusted, taking something that was meant for you. Not just something small, but something that actually mattered to you and to your future. Imagine being betrayed like that. You wouldn't just forget it, and you would not just move on. You'd be angry, and you'd hold on to it. That's exactly how Esau felt. And because of that, Esau was furious, so angry that Jacob had to run away for years just to stay safe. And now, all of that is catching up. Jacob is about to face his brother Esau, the same brother he betrayed and ran from, and now Esau is coming toward him with 400 men. Jacob thinks this could be the moment everything falls apart. He's afraid, he's overwhelmed, and he knows that he can't control what's about to happen. So that night, he sends everything and everyone else ahead. And he's completely alone with his fear, his past, and everything he's carrying. In Genesis chapter 32, verses 22 through 32, it says this: Jacob got up during the night, took his 2 wives, his 2 women servants, and his 11 sons, and crossed the Jabbok River's shallow water. He took them and everything that belonged to him, and he helped them cross the river. But Jacob stayed apart by himself. This matters because Jacob is finally alone. He's not distracted, he's not running, and he's left alone with everything he's carrying. Then it says, a man wrestled with him until dawn broke. This wasn't just a quick moment, this was all night. This was exhausting, and this was real. This isn't just a random man, this is God. Jacob is wrestling with God in the middle of fear and stress about something he cannot control. Verse 25 says, when the man saw that he couldn't defeat Jacob, he grabbed Jacob's thigh and tore a muscle in Jacob's thigh. This shows that God could have ended the fight at any moment, but he allowed Jacob to wrestle. Sometimes God allows the struggle because he's doing something in us through it. The man said, let me go because dawn is breaking. But Jacob said, I won't let you go until you bless me. That's desperation. That's someone who knows they can't walk away the same. Jacob doesn't just ask, he holds on. He refuses to leave until something changes. He said to Jacob, what's your name? And he said, Jacob. Then he said, your name won't be Jacob any longer, but Israel, because you struggled with God and with men and won. God gives Jacob a new name, a new identity. He goes from someone who runs and deceives to someone who faces God and is changed. Jacob also asked, tell me your name. But he said, why? Why do you ask for my name? And blessed Jacob there. Jacob finally receives the blessing, but not by avoiding the struggle. He receives it by staying in it with God. Jacob named the place Peniel because I've seen God face to face and my life has been saved. The sun rose as Jacob passed Peniel, limping because of his thigh. Jacob walks away changed, but with a limp. He was blessed, but yet it cost him something. Jacob's story directly connects to our lives. There have been times in my life where things at home were really stressful and there were situations I could not control. And it wasn't something I could fix by working harder or distracting myself. And I remember trying to deal with it by just staying busy, by focusing on sports, school, or anything just to not think about it. But no matter how busy I stayed, it didn't actually go away. It was still there, and I was still having to carry it. And I realized I was trying to fix something that I didn't have the power to fix. And it wasn't until I actually slowed down and started bringing it to God, not just by quick prayers, but by actually talking to Him, that I started to feel peace. Not because everything changed, but because I wasn't carrying it alone anymore. And that changed everything, even though nothing around me had changed yet. Here's the truth that many people don't realize. You don't find rest by fixing everything. You find rest by surrendering what you can't control. And that's hard, because everything in us wants to hold on. We think if we just try harder, control more, we'll finally feel okay. But it never works. Jacob didn't fix his situation. His brother was still coming, but yet Jacob changed. And that change came with the cost. God touched his thigh, and he walked away with a limp. Sometimes to feel rest, you have to give up control, pride, or the belief that you can handle everything on your own. As long as you keep holding on to everything, you will keep wrestling, and you will keep getting tired. God didn't take Jacob out of the struggle, he met him in it. And this is the part a lot of us avoid. Not because we don't believe in God, but because it's hard to let go of control. So this isn't just a story, it's an invitation. So if you don't hear anything else, hear this. You will never find real rest until you let go of what you were never meant to carry. A lot of us are tired, not just physically, but mentally, because we're trying to control things that we were never meant to control in the first place. We keep holding on to stress, fear, and situations we can't fix, thinking if we just try harder, we'll figure it out. But Jacob shows us something different. He couldn't control what was coming, and he couldn't change his past, but he chose to stop, face God, and hold on until something inside of him changed. And that's what real rest looks like. Not everything in your life gets fixed, but you finally letting go of what you've been holding on to and trust God with it. Because the moment you stop trying to carry everything on your own is the moment it stops crushing you. It doesn't mean the situation disappears, but it means it no longer has control over you. And instead of being overwhelmed by it, you're able to walk through it with God. Not alone, not carrying it by yourself anymore. Jacob walked into that night stressed, afraid, and overwhelmed, yet he walked out different. His situation didn't change, but he did. In the same way, real rest doesn't come when everything in your life is fixed. It comes when you stop trying to carry everything yourself and bring it to God. And that's why the A in Selah stands for ask. Because we're not meant to carry everything, we're meant to bring it to God. Please bow your heads with me. God, thank you for being with us, even in things we can't control. Help us to slow down, to trust you, and to let go of what we were never meant to carry. Give us the strength to come to you honestly and the peace that only you can provide. Change our hearts, even when situations don't fix. We give it all to you, Lord. Amen.